All right, we are live.
Oh,
I'm gonna make this in gallery. Okay, cool.
excellent. So yeah, lovely to meet up again, Brian. Yeah, we did the I think it was the week before last, was it? Or the week ago. Yeah, we
Hmm.
did the React tic-tac-toe, so that was good fun. And we're going to carry on with that the next few weeks,
Yeah.
and some other stuff. But today we're going to speak primarily about the community builders, which brought us together. AWS
Yeah,
Community Builders, yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, I mean
Also, a
the
quick
event.
plug on the tic-tac-toe.
Mm,
That got a lot of great feedback from folks.
oh, that's cool.
They were like really liking Tom, kind of like your walkthrough. Even like the live coding sessions, everyone seemed to really like and appreciate. I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
just a tic-tac-toe game, but even being able to get that on the internet, they were
Mm.
really interested in adding the serverless component there, and then kind of using CloudFront to help with managing and then deploying that. So that got a lot of good feedback for
It's
sure.
lovely. Yeah, I so enjoyed doing it with you. I mean, it was great to look at it together. We did it with Shubham, didn't we? So that was good
Yeah.
fun. And yeah, I really it was quite, it forces you to, with the public learning thing, isn't it? It forces you to kind of make sure that you're you're sure about what you're doing. So that was really good fun. Yeah, and it'd be really cool to continue with that. I think we got a little bit stuck on the logic, didn't we? I think there was that little bit with uh, the check for if someone has won. I think it was checking if it was null and then or undefined, and then also checking that the equality of each of the squares. So
Hmm.
that was quite interesting um, to look at. But yeah, so looking forward to continuing that, and we can put some blogs up there as well, can't we? I suppose from
Yeah,
that site, so that'd be
we'll definitely do that.
interesting. Definitely, definitely. So yeah, I think uh, just to kind of today is like a real kind of call to action, isn't it? Really, because I think we're saying about how people should really sign up for this community, isn't it? Because it's helped me really with the AWS Cloud Practitioner. That was a really good impetus working with you, Brian, and Parth and Shubham to try and get that qualification. So that was fantastic, and going to be working towards the developer. And then also the wide range of events, isn't it, Brian? Really, that we've got. I mean, there's just looking back from February, really, there's up to around almost 10 separate events which AWS has put on for us, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
so that's been fantastic.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, so from the welcome, we've had a really nice overview of what we can do, and we had our logo, didn't we? That we added to each of our kind of social media, which is
Hmm.
really nice. Actually, I mean, I think that was one thing that we were talking about, wasn't it? This aspect of being part of a community that allows us to kind of feel a bit less imposter syndrome, really, isn't it? It kind of
Oh,
helps us to get
100%.
involved. Yeah.
It's like there's just so much in tech. That's I literally was Tom. We were talking about this before
Mm,
we went live, but just the value of having people to connect and reach out to even be like, hey, like I'm getting this error and like I don't know what's going on, or this does not make sense to me, and can you help kind of like put some light on this and help me understand it. I think just in the sense there's a lot of posturing that happens in the industry and it doesn't really help because it can make like newer devs, even experienced devs that might just not know something, and then it's sort of like, well, why don't you know this? And it's
mm,
like it doesn't have to be like that. And this community has really opened my eyes to just really helpful, amazing people that love sharing and love bringing people kind of into the fold, and really just sharing kind of like, oh, okay, well, let me actually walk you through how to build, train, and deploy an AI model, and like actually show it, not just be like, here's a surface level, blog post. They actually give us real trainings and expertise, and you could even message in Slack these experts and these leaders of cloud and DevOps. So I
mm.
think that's been one of the biggest assets to that type of community, where you don't have to feel like you're going at this alone. And I think a lot
Mm.
of times it can feel kind of like that if you have a lot on your plate and or maybe you have a big client, or maybe you're just like taking on a lot of responsibility at work and you're sort of like, this is like feeling like it's way too much. You could have now a community of people that you can talk to, and people that maybe are going through similar things like you, and you could kind of maybe commiserate and be like, woe is us, like this is hard, and or have some really good conversations with folks who, and they might be able to help you out. So it's kind of the sky's the limit when you have a community. Expertise is found. It's not hard to find expertise in the community, and everyone is just so nice and willing to help. That's something that I think I really appreciate. Yeah, Tom, even if I have questions, you've been really helpful to even just like bring light to things for me, as well as like Parth and Shabam. So I feel like even just within our inner group, that's something that's really valuable. And I learned a lot from the tic-tac-toe sort of demo tutorial live coding session that we did. So that was fun. And even in the coding sessions, you could even see us doing live coding. It's all transparent. So, we're learning on the spot as well. So I like that about the community, that we're always like, nothing's perfect and nothing works all the time. Like, we're all working to get better as programmers and developers and technologists.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't really taken a wide range of leaders who we can contact, isn't it? And you've had some really good work with the data and analytics people, isn't it, that you've engaged with. So yeah, I think that's something for my own development. I'll definitely try and reach out a bit more for support from these guys as well. I mean, it's a whole raft of, I think it's almost yeah, just looking at the list, there's 20 people here we can just reach out to and contact if we want support. So that's fantastic. And as you say, like this opportunity to work together with peers and kind of share our own work. We've been in contact with Parth and Shivam in India, so we've had the opportunity to find out a bit more about even just from a cultural point of view, just finding out about kind of different countries, and Parth finishing his exams, Shubham and his work with his company. So yeah, it's been fantastic and so eye-opening even from that point of view, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've had the community as that opportunity, and you mentioned the SageMaker. That's been really nice kind of latest event, but there's a whole list of them, isn't there, that we've been looking at. I think there was a really nice one at the start, wasn't there, on public speaking that we did.
It was cool because it was like two parts. There was like technical blog writing, and then also kind of how to speak. And I think the title was like how to not make a fool of yourself when you're presenting. So it's like they bring humor and light to these types of, sometimes kind of serious topics, but I liked how it's helping you kind of build yourself, not just as like a coder and not just the code, but it's also building you as a person. And I do like that from a mentorship perspective where, you do the code, right? But can you explain the code? And now can you present the code? And that's like building, I think, sort of, I always think in terms of like tech stacks with like marketing or people, but it's like you have different stacks of your life. So you have the presenting stack, you have the writing stack, you have the coding execution stack. There's like different components that can kind of build you as a person. So Tom, I'm glad you brought that up, because like I like how they broke it down into how to write technical blogs, but then also how to present technical presentations, because it's those two kind of are very different, but they're not often, taught in tandem. It's kind of one or the other, or not at all. So I like how like they brought both of them together.
Yeah, and I agree. And what came out of both of the presentations, I think there was one from Jeremy Edberg and another one on how to get opportunities to speak.
Yes.
You got a real system out of them, didn't you? You got a kind of a structure that you can follow. We kind of had this kind of storytelling aspect as well, wasn't there, that came out of the blogging tips and also the speaking tips, actually. So that was really cool. So I think there was even one that was using film kind of structure to help us to kind of improve our blog writing. So yeah, that's been really good. I've also met uh, with Lou a couple of times as well for a bit more guidance on that, and it's been really interesting talking about the way in which you find a topic. So Lou's been mentioning he's the dev, I always forget.
The dev coach.
Well,
Yeah,
the dev
shout out
coach
to
helped me
Lou.
out. Yeah,
We're
shout
big
out to
fans
Lou.
of Lou if he's watching this channel.
Lou's getting
His
a lot of
Instagram
publicity.
carousels are so cool. I'm
Yeah,
a big
he's
fan.
great. He's
Big
great.
fan,
He's
Lou.
great, Lou. Yeah, top.
Much love.
And he's been giving us some tips in the Slack channel as well, hasn't he, Lou?
Yeah. Well, he's like, we kind of all bonded about this because it's like him, Linda, and I are kind of like, I don't want to be like we're the only people on Instagram, but like we actively use Instagram to talk about tech. So it's kind of like we all talk about that, and like Lou's style of carousels for like he'll take a blog post and then turn it into a carousel. So the way that he seamless does this, Linda also does this really well too, of like AWS topics and then carouseling. And I did a carousel on the kind of the stack of our tic-tac-toe, and that's like fun. So we all bond about Instagram and ways to share content, you know, in a digital way like that.
Definitely. So yeah, he's great, Lou. I mean, he was just giving me tips on how to get a topic. So you like this kind of system that you can follow of looking on Stack Overflow, then checking Google to see what the stories are and see whether the demand has been met by. So it's quite interesting actually, and he had a whole system. So you're checking the questions, and then you can see whether the answers have been adequate for the questions as well. So yeah, and the Instagram stuff, I've just been literally copying you actually, Brian. Yeah, but yeah, riding off your coattails. Yeah, no,
it's like
good.
That's like content, right? Like no one kind of talks about this, but it's like you learn from seeing other people, and then you kind of like looking at like 10 people at scale, like what do I like about how they post content, and then you can kind of incorporate that within your own creativity. And then Tom, that kind of leads to like when you post, right? Then you know you're able to have all these inspirations that then fuel what you end up posting or blogging about, and you do a lot on blogging. So
yeah, I mean, one thing I'm finding a little bit difficult is taking that leap from just that kind of simple blog to something that's a little bit more technical. I think that's the challenge for me now. Like I'm wanting to offer some value, and I think that was what was coming out from my conversations with the dev coach, that that it does take time for some articles to really get some traction, but it's useful to if you are solving a problem. So that'll be the next level for me, definitely working out how I can find a solution to a problem that's been identified and really dig into that. So that's going to be a challenge. Definitely.
Yeah, and through the AWS Community Builders program, they have an awesome blog on dev.to. So being able to like tap into this ecosystem of other technologists writing about tech, that's I think really valuable, because then you're not kind of just going at it alone. Like you also can see what other people are writing about, and maybe that sparks, in someone's head, they're like, oh, I didn't even think about these topics or this area of cloud. So now you just have this ecosystem and kind of just content at scale of other people writing about stuff. So that's a great perk about the Community Builders program, is like you also can write for the blog, but then also like being able to see what other people are writing about. That's really valuable too.
Yeah, definitely, and being curious about that's really important, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. But also, I mean, it's been. I think we've had a bit of we don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but as a cohort, I think we've done. Jason and some of the guys have mentioned that we've had some success with putting the word out there, and more people are signing up to the AWS Community Builders, which is a sign of how good the program is and how positive we've been about it. So yeah, definitely, it's March the 31st, isn't it? And we're going to put the link in for the
we'll put it below.
Cool. So
I'll make sure that's all
interesting,
all in there. But yeah, definitely apply. I've been talking to a number of people who hopefully will be applying in the coming days if they haven't already. One of the people messaged me that they applied the other day, so that's awesome. And
Cool.
even like globally, right? Like there was someone from a university who's like thinking of applying. A couple people from different countries that were thinking of applying. Some people from different industries. So I think that's like the value of getting the word out and sharing what we've
Mm.
been learning. Kind of can spur a lot of people to be like, oh, like this is exactly the program that I need because this could really help me in X, Y, and Z. So that's kind of, you need like content creators to like make content to share that, because you don't know who will see, the podcast on Spotify, someone who might see the YouTube video, who might be seeing on Instagram or Twitter. So it's so
Yeah,
important to kind of blast the word out to the high heavens
definitely,
to make sure that
definitely,
everyone can
definitely.
hear about Salsa program and see if this might be a good fit to help them accelerate their careers.
No, that's right, Brian. And also, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we've not just been looking at uh, there've been more practical skills as well that we focused on, like you've mentioned with the app. We've got the SageMaker, the video which we've and program the introduction that we had, which was really interesting. And then also we've had more practical skills, like I think there was one on architecture diagrams, wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there, that we did? Yeah,
That was really
yeah.
helpful to like see
Mm.
how you actually map out this types of thing, because I've kind of in the past kind of like haphazardly was Googling like app sync logo and then like trying to copy it, but like having a systemized way where you can actually build architecture diagrams,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
mind blown, because I would never have known about how to actually do it professionally unless you have that coaching and that mentorship. So that's why the
Yeah,
program is
yeah.
so valuable for sure.
And it helps you read it a bit better as well, and perhaps understand the system a bit better as well, isn't it? Because
Absolutely.
you are going to have to, I mean, in your dev work, you have to read a few of these diagrams, and so getting better at understanding them is really helpful. You know,
Oh,
the
definitely.
VPC and how each of the EC2 instances fit within the architecture as well. So that's really nice way of kind of being able to have a shared language, isn't it?
Hmm.
Really, I suppose, to be able to talk
Exactly.
about how things are put together. Yeah, and we've got loads of icons that we can refer to, so that would be really cool for that. And we should definitely try and put some of that into practice with our work, with our little tic-tac-toe thing.
Oh,
Perhaps we could
definitely.
do a little architecture diagram to try and build that up. Definitely, yeah.
Totally.
Cool. Yeah, and there, I mean, there's so much to talk about, isn't there? The what would you say was your favorite aspect of the AWS Glue one that we did? Because we had another event about AWS Glue, and these this some of these things which we might not have had in an everyday work, isn't it? But it's an opportunity to kind of just learn a bit more about what AWS is doing, and also just to get a real sense of the possibility of things that we can do, isn't it? Did
Yeah.
that feed into like some of the stuff you've done with the data work as well that you've done?
Yeah, especially with
Yeah.
Glue, there were a lot of announcements at reInvent, kind of building off of how can you take data, add analytics on top of it, maybe machine learning on top of that, and then also integrate that into an app. And then now you can sort of analyze the data at scale, and really where that can come in, because I was just looking at a couple blog posts, but with Glue Data Brew and then Glue Elastic Views, there were a lot of announcements reInvent about that, because a lot of people now kind of want to take your data and then query it, maybe run it into a data lake, and then now you can really run full scale machine learning for your data backend. So
Okay.
definitely from a data and databases, it's kind of coming into like data from different sources and then combine it together and then analyze it. So I feel
Hmm.
like data isn't it's definitely moving away from being static to now being more active. And now you can activate the data and do something with it and really provide high level analytics off of kind of just inputs. And that's what can make, predictive analytics smarter in a sense, because now you can be running real time AI from the data that you have in the cloud. So that's where I think that data integration becomes really valuable. And I definitely see from the workshops that the data and analytics team has been putting on, it's definitely heading into that where, you don't just have the code, you know, sit and analyze it. Now, like use that data to now be proactive and do things with it ahead of when you actually might need to use it or might be able to pick up on a trend. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty interesting actually, kind of the evolutions of data. And AWS just finished with the S3 Pi Week. So that was kind of
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
anniversary of
yeah. That's good.
S3 like 15 years ago. So it's kind of wild how 15 years ago they had just invented the idea of, you know, storing like a piece, like an object in the cloud. And then now we're able to basically predict before something might be coming up with like AI. So it just kind of shows you in 15 years how fast cloud ecosystem is growing, and specifically how AWS continues to innovate and level up their own products and their own platforms. So specifically with data and databases, I mean, it's kind of like with DynamoDB, you know, it's kind of now taking that, run it through Athena, and then now you can actually run, you know, a data lake at scale. And it's very cool how all of these technologies are shaping up, but very quickly. I'm kind of surprised at how fast these are being built and then adopted. It's like very like quick returns on the
Yeah,
in the innovation
yeah,
front.
yeah. I think that was something that Werner Vogel's spoken about, isn't it? The AI is going to be really important going forwards, definitely. So
Yeah,
that's something to watch out for. Is
totally.
yeah, loads of innovation, and not necessarily something that's yeah, immediately accessible, because there's a bit of background knowledge that's required, isn't there? But something that's, you know, gradually, hopefully through exposure, that we'll start to become more confident with, and to learn more about.
Yeah, and there's
Brilliant.
also like just different types of databases, because of course you have kind of your managed data with like DynamoDB, whether it's like relational, non-relational database, but even still with like cryptography and blockchain and decentralized databases, that's kind of a new model of how you can actually store, track, and trace your own data. So that's a very good and interesting use case for data. And I know AWS is working a lot on that type of decentralization for your own data in the back end. So
Mm.
that also seems to be also like a very big trend right now of, and in a sense, it's all databases. So like whether it's AI that's pulling from data or cryptography that's, you know, being able to operationalize and secure and track data, it's all relevant and it's all kind of the future. So it's cool that we're all kind of in this space right now and able to experiment and build on it, because these are going to be the technologies that are a fixture of the next like 30, 40, 50 years. So we get to kind of be in this sandbox right now of seeing what's being adopted and even built. We even get a chance to trial and test out some of these technologies through the webinars and the trainings, which is a really great opportunity. So you might even get to see tech before it is mainstream. You might be able to
Mm.
like beta test something. So there's always great benefits to that, and even being able to provide direct feedback to the AWS team. It's a very cool opportunity for sure.
Definitely, yeah, and that's part of the great things about the program, isn't it? We've even had such a fantastic kind of generosity of the vouchers for using AWS, so that we can experiment as well. So that's been really cool. And also, I mean, even if the some of the AI aspects are a bit more challenging, you just going back to the basics of learning about networking, and we've had a couple of really useful sessions on that, haven't we, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of just the fundamentals of how networking works on AWS, isn't it? We've had 2 sessions there, haven't we, for
Mm-hmm.
that, which has been really good, to kind of get a sense of how things are put together with the availability zones, VPCs, the region as well, and how we configure our subnets. So yeah, I mean, that was a really good couple of sessions, wasn't it? The networking stuff,
Yeah,
definitely. And we get
that's like
videos. We get videos as well, don't we, to follow up every time as well. So that's really nice. We get the videos, the slides, and you know, so you can use that information for later as well. Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Mm.
I think sometimes even like when you're like really like inundated, like on a work day and work day's really busy, I like being able to have the playbacks where you can like play. And they also host 2 different times usually. So it'll be like a morning time and an evening time. And that
Yeah.
often works really, really well because like, again, like stuff can happen and you could just have like a really busy day or a really busy week. and then being able to, again, just like tap into the knowledge and not lose it because it's still there. Like I like how they go out of their way to save those for us.
Excellent. And the VPCs, we've got all of this details about the IP, and how each of these different configurations work as well. So that's been really cool. I think they did speak about a few of the new ideas with networking as well, didn't they? Just looking back, there's a few bits about how to configure the subnets in a bit more detail, and also creating endpoints as well within the VPCs. So that was really interesting. So yeah, I mean, loads of stuff there. I mean, it's almost too much, isn't it? There's loads to look at, and that's been really cool.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's almost every week, isn't it, that you get a new event, and almost twice a week as well. So that's been really good. What was your big takeaway from the AppSync session?
Yeah, that's actually really interesting because I use AppSync like generally like for my work right now. So
Oh, cool.
so like that combined with GraphQL was actually really eye-opening for me to know like how can you like provision user resources, role-based permissions, and how can AppSync sort of be that engine for your software application, and then be able to operationalize it from an end user. Well, I mean, really from end user as in like us as the coders, but like end user for like the actual person that's using the application. So that's been really helpful and functional. Definitely like understanding the serverless architectures and where kind of AppSync plays into authentication, where that kind of stems into Cognito, where that could also stem into like DynamoDB or databases. There's like understanding how you can use that as the engine to drive, your system. That's really helpful, at least for me. And I know a lot of people that attended that training got a lot of value from that as well. So just again, like the lectures and the trainings, it really helps, especially if this is relevant to the work that you're doing now. It can really just like set you up. And sometimes even like you can read documentation and be like, oh, I think I get it. But there's something special about like someone that actually is like guiding you through a live coding session or a lecture. And then the way that they speak about it can sometimes actually be like maybe way more enlightening than, you might have thought with, just reading a blog post or something like that. So hearing it from different perspectives, especially people that are like, maybe even the people that built some of that technology, they might know a whole heck of a lot. So being able to, tap into their mindset and hear kind of what their vision of it is and how they think it can be operationalized, like that might save you months of runway from, if you can just accelerate your path to use the technology, that could really be a game changer.
Oh yeah, that's the great thing about the AWS products, isn't it? It's just such an opportunity to speed up the process and to really take advantage of that scale that AWS offers. Definitely, yeah. I mean, the AppSync episode was really interesting, and we've got some more coming up as well, haven't we? Even in the next few days, I think there's a few promised. There's one for the new features of Amazon key spaces, and that's being in another one of our Slack channels. And we're also going to be talking about AWS Device Farm as well. So that would be interesting, won't it? So loads of different kind of webinars we're having almost once a week. So that's or twice a week actually. And yeah, I mean it's just this sheer kind of exposure to the system, isn't it? Really. What's some of your aims for the next few months, would you say, Brian, in terms of AWS? Are you hoping to move on to the developer exam soon, or?
Yes. I was going to say, I was like, definitely he's going to ask about that. I know. Honestly, at this point,
difficult question, isn't it?
I had so for the Tech Stack Playbook, I interviewed Linda, who's also another community builder, Linda Viva, and her whole strategy is like you book the exam And
Yeah.
then that's kind of like the benchmark for like what you move forward. And I think, to be honest, like I kind of need that deadline to just be
Yeah.
set to be like, oh,
Yeah.
Brian, you better do it. You better get
Well,
this to happen. So I feel like honestly
I
I
need to
have to
do it
do
like a
that.
couple of months after you, because you set the benchmark. Are you going to go for it then? When are you, what
Yeah, like so like
yeah.
what I'm kind of thinking is like, okay, like you can't get all the certification. I mean, in a sense, yes, you can, but like in
Mm.
a sense, I'm kind of trying to decide like, do I want the solutions architect or do I want the developer? I feel like the
Oh
developer is
yeah.
more in line with what I'm doing right now
Yeah.
and like the skills that I probably want to gain. But I might do the solutions architect, but I don't know. I feel like the developer is what I should be focusing on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanna do. But I don't know, maybe I do both.
So are you going to set a date now then, Brian? What's the thoughts?
I was gonna say I feel like I should. As
Put
soon
you
as
on
I
the
do the
spot. Put you on the
deadline,
spot.
my Instagram feed is gonna be like all the posts because that's how I studied. It's like you
Yeah,
make
yeah,
the post and then
yeah,
you teach yourself because you're studying it.
yeah.
As soon as I
No,
do that, I'm gonna be like a flood of posts about that. But yeah,
yeah.
maybe I should do the developer one. I don't know. Do you have perspectives like solutions architect or developer?
Well, I was going to go for the developer, but everyone is talking about the solutions architects. Yeah, like they're kind of they're different. Let's just recap on those different kind of areas that you can go for. So we've got the AWS qualifications, just getting that up so we can see, and we've got. So we've both done the cloud practitioner, which is the foundational. Then there are three different kind of tracks which we can follow, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the architect, operations, and developer. I think the solutions architect, associate, and professional seem to be quite popular as ones to do. I've bought all the books for the developer one though, so I feel like I want to do I want to do that. But yeah, what's you're torn between the two then?
Yeah, I'm actually just
Yeah,
pulling this up for the viewers in
yeah,
the audience, just so this can kind of show, just to kind of put a visual background to Tom what you were just walking through.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I was thinking the developer, and then
Yeah.
I was
So
thinking,
we're
oh,
like
what?
here, we're like
Yeah,
foundational. So this is
yeah, we're
like
foundational. Yeah,
the cloud
definitely.
practitioner, which is the
No
benchmark,
question.
and then you can kind of level up to these three different tracks. I
Yeah,
feel like the developer is the most in line for what we do,
yeah,
which is this one.
yeah. I feel like you have to be quite realistic because I'm just wondering how long I would give myself for that.
It says
I
1 year
think,
of experience, but I wonder if they even have
yeah. So if we said
so 65
September,
questions,
yeah, maybe September might be realistic for that.
130 minutes. So it's like a little over an hour.
Yeah. So I think September may be a good time for the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've got yeah, because we had the voucher for the last exam, didn't we? And I think I've got with a partnership, I can get half price for the next exam. So I think I might put in for September.
You also
Possibly
get
for
when you get the certification from AWS, I think we get half off certifications because we already got one.
oh cool, yeah. So we can use that as well. Brilliant.
I'm pretty sure because
Yeah.
that's what I got. I saw that there were like all these perks, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm all about like the free swag. Like anytime, like oh, there's perks,
Definitely.
there's benefits. Like
Definitely.
I'm there.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of it. I mean, that's the great thing with this. You know, AWS has been so generous, honestly, with the
Yeah.
Community Builders program, and particularly if you're on a. I was impressed by your latest picture of your swag. You look very pleased with your.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was like I saw that arrive at my doorstep and I was like, big box for AWS. And I was like, oh my God, what is
Yeah,
this?
very cool, very cool. Yeah, very
I
cool.
thought it was like the AWS Snowball, like the in-person like cloud
Mm,
storage device. And I was like, wait, what is this? But yeah, and
yeah.
this is the certified architect. So it's
This is what
actually
you're
kind of the
thinking.
same format.
Mm.
It's 65 questions, 130 minutes. It seemed to
You're
be
thinking this one. You're thinking this one, yeah.
no,
That's what
I
you
think
want.
the developer because I'm looking
Yeah.
at this now and a lot of it is like identifying technical requirements. Like, it's kind of like, if you have this problem, what would be the AWS solutions that would accomplish this? So I think it's more broad. Like, you have to know like generally more things. I think for the developer, you have to be more specific, because this talks about like CI/CD, app lifecycle management, CLI, SDKs. This is much more of what we're doing. Like, I think I'll probably go for the developer here.
Yeah, maybe do the developer
so
and then go sideways and do the architect as well. So do the developer as the next one. Yeah, I think that's logical. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to take it like in a month, though. I don't know.
Really? Wow.
I like setting like hard deadlines.
Yeah,
but
that is deep. You're gonna go for that. Are you inspired?
I'm kind of inspired.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say that now, but then we'll actually see if I end up signing up in a month. We will see. But maybe in a month or two. I think that having like a couple months of really in-depth training, if you're doing a lot of this stuff already, can be really helpful, especially with reInvent. I found that when I did the cloud practitioner, being able to like hear the AWS reInvent sessions, it actually helps to like paint in my mind what I might see on an exam. Because there was some stuff that just like with reInvent, the way that they phrase it, the way that they walk through the solutions, hearing it in different examples can sometimes be really helpful.
Cool. Well, let's try and do that, a bit of public learning with that then. So if we try and share our learning with the some of the developer topics, that would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got to finish off a bit with our blog thing that we've been working on. But
yes.
So we'll do that next time, perhaps, and then do a bit of preparation for the developer. So I have got the book. Perhaps we'll agree during the week a topic, and then we can start to go, because really it is kind of similar to the cloud practitioner, but in more depth, isn't it? Is that right?
100%. It's like specific. So I feel like solutions architect, you have to know like a lot or a little bit about a lot of different things. I feel like for the developer, it's like you have to know a few things, but like you have to know them more in depth.
Cool. So yeah, okay, that'd be really cool working with you on that. That'd be really nice. So
I mean, also I do want to preface this by like, I say that now, I haven't actually looked at the developer exam, so it might be also you have to know quite a lot, and you have to know specifically quite a lot.
Okay. Well, you're selling it to me anyway, and it's one of my aims. It's definitely one of my aims. I mean, I've got AWS developer, React and front end, maths and problem solving, BA skills, and Java. So those are my main aims at the moment.
Your library is exquisite. I just want to say that. Like,
yeah, it's hidden behind the Golden Bridge at the moment. But yeah,
I know the amount of books that you have is like awesome. I got to work on building out my little library here, but
that's great. There's some good books there, and you got your what's this on the right hand side, Brian? Are we allowed to talk about that? On the other side, your left, you've got some docs there, haven't we? Is that the white box?
Oh yeah, it's like for my my little drone. So there's like wings in there. There's like a charger.
Have you flown that recently then?
No, it's so bad. Like, one of my friends who's like really into drones, he like hates that I haven't done anything with it. It's so bad because I've been so busy, and I'm like now waiting, especially now that the weather's nice. I'm actually kind of like interested in like taking some like drone photos of me like coding or something like that, like outside.
That's cool. Yeah,
that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, on the Instagram. Very good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, lovely. I mean, it's been nice to catch up again, and also just to share with everyone some of the stuff. So we've got 31st, isn't it? The sign up. So
yeah, March 31st.
And we'll put the link in the YouTube and also on the podcast, won't we? I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's 11:59. I think it's Pacific time, but maybe go by Eastern time just to be safe. But yeah, make sure that you submit your application by March 31st.
Yeah.
And Tom, I'm sure I can speak for you, but like me and myself too, like Tom and I would love to like answer any questions if anyone wants to reach out about
any questions,
about the application or even just the Community Builders program in general. Like I had a number of conversations this week with folks who like were asking about it, and they're like, oh, is this for me? Is this would this program help me out? And it's kind of like, if you're passionate about cloud and just the digital transformation that's happening right now, as well as making apps and software, or working for a company and working on some part of the code pipeline, definitely yes. Because you're also not just like applying for like just to be in like the program, you also are applying to be a part of a community of innovators, builders, developers, product people. So it's kind of throughout the gamut. And Tom, like, there's CTOs that are in the group, there's software engineers at big companies, at startups, people that are kind of just getting their start, people that might be in school. So the range is pretty vast of the people that are a part of it, but everyone kind of loves AWS, cloud, DevOps, software in general, software development, web development. So there's definitely a space for you in the Community Builders program, because there's like there's data, there's storage, there's governance, there's serverless, app development, analytics, and databases as well as data. The chances are, like, if you're interested in something like related to AWS, there's a space for you in the Community Builders program.
Yeah, and as you say, it's like from quite basic to pretty advanced, isn't it? Really, I mean, I am quite early in my journey, and I've been welcomed. Really pleased with how I've learned so much from it. And then also there are, as you say, all these different channels where you can really take it a bit deeper as well, isn't it? Really, with machine learning even, and storage, etc. So yeah, great. Really looking forward to our next meetup, and we'll keep I'll have to hold you to your thing with the AWS developer then.
See, that's the thing, everyone. Accountability. You need to have accountability buddies in anything that you do.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
See, we say this now, and I'm like all excited. And Tom, I'm gonna look at the practice test and be like, oh my god.
No, you did so well with the cloud practitioner. It's so inspiring, mate. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll get into that.
My feed is now going to be exclusively AWS developer lessons now that I sign up. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right then, Brian. I look forward to catching up soon, guys. And good stuff. We'll aim for one for next week, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, let's do it. This is so fun and awesome to connect with anyone. And if anyone has any ideas too about upcoming topics or wants to collab, we have actually a growing list now of people that are going to be contributing to this, which is exciting. But if you want to contribute as well and be a part of it, or even if you have a topic and you want us to dive into it, more than happy to. So again, reach out to Tom, me, Parth, or Shubham. And we look forward to doing it on the next AWSome podcast. Cool. All right. Bye, everyone.